How's it going, everybody? Raising Hell here, and today I'm going to be starting a new series of Civilization 4. We're going to be playing one of the Warlords scenarios. For those of you who are not aware, Warlords is the second expansion. Warlords is the first expansion to Civilization 4. It is not nearly as fleshed out as the Beyond the Sword expansion, but at the same time, there are some rather unique scenarios that are included in the Warlords expansion, and these primarily deal with events taking place sort of in ancient world. So we're going to be starting a scenario called Rise of Rome. This is a special mod, and we have an option of playing one of 5 various empires that are starting up in the ancient world. So it's rather historical in that sense. I'm going to be playing as Rome because that is the most classic choice I could make. Now we get to choose the difficulty. I don't think I am quite good enough to play at deity, so we're going to do Emperor. That's sort of a compromise between noble and deity. Okay, so here we are at the beginning of it. The year is 300 BC. The civilizations surrounding the Mediterranean Sea, Rome, Carthage, Greece, and Egypt, nervously attempt to establish borders and trade routes. Meanwhile, the clannish Celts attempt to nurture their fledgling civilization and gain unity. Each civilization is only looking to establish peace and gain dominance of the Mediterranean. Here we have a Latin quote that means, if you want peace, prepare for war. Game notes. This scenario lasts 250 turns. Controlling victory resources increases your victory points. The player with the highest victory point total at the end of 250 turns is the winner. So as you can see, this lasts for a fair bit of time. Let's continue. And as you can see, we're starting out as Rome. And right to our right, we have the Greek civilization, Egypt, and in the far left of the screen here in Northern Africa, we have Carthage. Now, the objective of this, I'm going to have to turn on the resources. I need to acquire victory points to actually win this game. I don't have any. As you can see right here, Greece has a victory point, Egypt has a victory point, and Carthage has a victory point somewhere around here. I don't have a victory point, though, which means that it's not possible for me to win without declaring war on another civilization. You can't see the Celts victory point. It's up here in what would be like England. So we're going to get started here. I'm going to be playing this in about 30-minute increments. So every 30 minutes, we're going to be putting a cut in the flow of the video. That's pretty much what I'm shooting for. So we're going to try that and see how it works out. So we have a couple of galleys here. Well, we have a galley and a trireme. So one of them is a warship, and I think who we should go after first. It's a good question. Since I'm playing on the Emperor difficulty, I have to be a little bit more cautious in how I go about this. We're currently enjoying the Roman mythos religion. Let's take a look at the different civics available to us. Police state is very interesting. Plus 50 military unit production. We're going to be sacrificing some of our city maintenance for doing that, though. So I'd be interested to know exactly, if I turn my gold down here, how much I'm going to be making. At 40%, I'd finally be making a little bit of gold, which is not necessarily a good thing because it means that we're not going to be able to support a very large army. It's rather shocking because we don't even have that many units. Most of our cost is in city maintenance. And we're just not making that much taxes. So I'm going to turn the resources on here briefly. And we could definitely do with some more cottages around our land, I think. That will give us additional gold over time. I'm going to be playing with the resources off because it gives us a cleaner map look, and I think a lot of people don't like the cluttered map look of seeing all those resources. If you do like them, please let me know. But that's just the general gist of what I have learned about people who watch like Civilization 5 and Civilization 4. Not so much Civilization 4. Civilization 5 is the popular game here on YouTube. So we have a worker here. Let's see what we can do. Probably want to clear out this forest and build a cottage there. We have archers to defend most of our cities. And here's another trireme. So like I said before, who do we want to invade first? I'm kind of partial to invading... Well, here is Greece. I was going to say I'm partial to invading Carthage, especially for historical reasons, because Rome and Carthage have always had a beef. But at the same time, getting this victory resource from Greece appears to be a lot easier than moving all the way up here. I could be wrong about that. When it comes to relations, it really doesn't matter because all of them pretty much hate me. So, well, okay, Greece is only annoyed towards me. Everybody else is furious. And we don't currently know what Egypt's status is towards us, but it would take me a long time to sail all the way down there with the units required. So I am partial to getting a hold of a resource early on and then just moving on from there. So the thing is, if we go after Carthage, we're going to have to move into the African peninsula. We're going to have to move into the African continent almost immediately. And I'm not sure I want to do that. Like, I could go after Greece and pretty much stay on the continent that I'm currently on right here, the European continent. Otherwise, I could go after Egypt. It's a good question. Okay. See, at the moment, it won't matter because they all have the same amount of victory points. It's not like they're going to be doing better or worse depending upon their actual economies. Dependent entirely on the number of victory point and resources they control. And given the fact that it's the AI, I doubt they're going to be controlling more than one. For now, we're just going to be fortifying. Okay, here we have one of our Praetorians. Praetorians are decent units, but they're going to be rather weak against both the Egyptian units, if I recall correctly, and the Carthaginian units. So, ultimately, our best choice might be to actually go up against Greece. Let's take a look at these units here. What does Greece have that's special against me? Because right here is like my Praetorian units. There are various different upgraded versions of it. And as you can see, they're melee units. And they're just middling. Their primary strength is just their sheer, strength. They don't actually have very good bonuses when you compare them to stuff like the War Elephant. This is 50 against mounted units. If we go to war against Carthage, we're going to be able to build War Elephants, I imagine. And once we gain access to we probably won't be able to build War Elephant 2. We could gain access to Ivory. Here you have the Egyptian unique unit. The Egyptian Axemen is what I'm especially worried about because they have a very high bonus against the melee units, and I'd be using Praetorians. So that would not be necessarily good for me to go up against them. But then we compare them to, say, I'm just looking, the Carthage. They have the Numidian. Anyway, they have these cavalry, and I'm not going to continue to butcher their name. They have a very high bonus against melee units once again, I should say. So the Phalanx is the only one that has like an okay bonus against melee units, and that's Greek. So I think based on that, we should actually go after Greece first because they're going to give me the least amount of grief when I'm using my unique unit. So glad to have that settled. We're just going to be going around here pretty much setting up all these initial units. Maybe I should actually have all my Praetorians stashed right over here. Let's see what Rome needs especially. I think we could definitely do with some nice cottages right here. Help my economy get going. As you can see right there is a warrior from the Celts. I don't think they're going to be much of a problem. I mean, look at their strength too. It's not a big deal. I think the Celts are one of the weakest civilizations you could possibly play here, so I'm actually setting myself up for a fairly good start, I believe. Now, if we do declare war on Greece, we have to keep in mind that they do have cities right over here. But once again, this is relatively easy to defend. I can simply station an archer or even a Praetorian right on that tile, and easily defend the rest of my empire from there. So I think overall, Rome attacking Greece is going to be the most viable strategy. Let's take a look at civics. Like I said, I think I want to do police state. We're going to start producing military units as quickly as possible. Like surprise attack Greece, because the longer we wait, the worse it's going to be. Organized religion has high upkeep. but it increases the rate at which we build buildings. So I think we want to switch to theocracy for the additional experience points. And then we're also going to switch to police state. So we're going to still be paying 7 gold per turn, I think. Let me see. Is that what I was paying? Yeah. Yes, I was paying 7 per gold per turn. We're going to continue playing that. It's going to be 1 turn of revolution. Then we can take a look at the technologies. Now, each civilization in this mod has different technologies available to them. So that's why you can see a whole bunch of stuff is redded out here for me. Being Rome, my basically the only technology I have access to is the Praetorian. And I can upgrade it up to level 6. The difference here is this is the level 7 Praetorian with level 6 technology. I will have, there will be 9 strength. What is the basic one? 7, yeah. So we're going to be upgrading a couple of strength there. Optionally, we can, once we run out of resources for upgrading our Praetorian, we can train engineer, merchant, scientist, artist, and prophet. Once we complete these researches, that will give us one of those great people to actually expend. So at the beginning of the game, obviously the Praetorian is most important, but then again, I think it's important to note that research in this mod itself is not going to be that important. So we don't have to worry about keeping our taxes our research rate all that competitive. Now, right now, all of these cities are building archers, which is initially kind of okay, but I actually want to build, I think, catapults. So we're going to be going through all these cities and building a catapult first. Catapults are fairly strong in warlords because they can actually kill. So they cause collateral damage and they can kill. So yeah, kind of a bit of an overpowered unit. And that's why we're going to go ahead and start building catapults in all these cities. And you might think, well, it's going to take 40 turns. No, it's only because I'm currently in a state of anarchy. I'm just going to cycle through these cities and make sure nothing else was queued up at the time. And what else? I just want to make sure I get off to a good start here at the beginning of the game. We already looked at our financial situation, our civics. We changed those. For an advisor, I don't actually think we're going to be able to trade with anything. They have 10 gold for trade and stuff like that. Nobody's going to be willing to trade with me. So that's not going to be an option. We already selected our research, we already changed our civics, and I think that's it. Okay, let's go into this one turn. Scoring. Points in this scenario are earned through controlling victory resources. For every victory resource you control, you will earn 10 points per turn. When the game begins, each opposing civilization controls a single victory resource, while your civilization controls none. In order to win, you must capture at least 2 victory resources before your opponent's score gets too far ahead of your score. Good luck. So it's a bit like I mentioned before. We're going to have to get control of victory resources if we hope to win this, because otherwise the AI is automatically going to win instead. But they're not going to be competing for the victory resources more likely than not. So yes, we're going to have to focus on Greece first here. Start getting our ships, our ducks in a row, as it were. I think we'll just be grouping them all over here. Now, I can access Rome via land, but it's going to be a lot easier if I can just land them over here by ship. And we're going to do that. We're going to have some Praetorians, and we're going to start moving some catapults over there. I think we have all of our resources improved here. Yes, we do. We might want to build a few more workers, though. We're actually losing a fair amount of gold. How is that happening? We just taxes and city maintenance. Okay. We're going to reduce research once again. Okay. I'm going to move that Praetorian here over to the boot heel of Rome, of the Roman Peninsula. Where do I want to station these guys? I think I'll just station it where it was. The less time we waste on this, the better. Okay. So we've given the catapults a couple of turns. We might want to hurry the ones that are especially long now. I can hurry this one for 1 population using slavery. That that city only has one population, so I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm going to hurry this one as well. This one's 38 turns. I'm going to hurry that. And this one's 5 turns, 6 turns, 2 turns, 1 turn. I think we're going to hurry this 5-turn catapult. There we go. So already, as you can see, we have some catapults being made. I'm going to load both of these. Okay, a catapult and a Praetorian. Oh, we actually have enough experience points for a promotion. I think we'll decide that a little bit later. And then I'm going to be depositing those units off here on the coast next turn. The lucky thing about this is I can actually station them in this little tile right there. And that means that I'm not going to have to be paying like foreign maintenance costs for having the units outside my borders. So overall, that is a rather fortunate situation. Now, this city, I do not necessarily approve of what they're doing here. And one thing I also want to do, make sure no other city is using specialists, because there's really no point in doing so if they're good tiles to work, as the great people are not all that necessary in this game. I mean, sure, making production is good, but I also kind of want to focus on commerce here. So we're going to do that instead and continue to build hovels. Commerce is going to be one of the limiting factors in this game, because I'm playing on a higher difficulty level, and that makes everything more expensive, especially the number of units that we have to maintain. So we want to get into the war pretty quickly. In terms of units, now I don't think I should bother building spearmen, because Greece does not use any mounted units, really. They don't have many powerful mounted units that would be able to counter, for instance, my Praetorian natively. We definitely do want some Praetorian to help counter the catapults and just regular horse archers that Greece will have to counter my catapults. So that's what we're going to be focusing on here. Another Praetorian. Yeah, I think we're just going to go down the line and do Praetorians. Make Praetorians. Yeah, pretty good. All right. More catapults are popping out. How are we looking over here? Yeah, we're definitely seeing the maintenance cost for units go up. Currently, it's at 4. So that's something to keep in mind. I believe we can build settlers, but I'm not sure we actually want to expand our empire like that. I think the war aspect is especially important this early on. So I'm going to deposit those units right there. And then now we can start loading some more onto the galley. Like so. Another catapult was created here, and we're going to be making a Praetorian. So as you can see, most of our army is going to be comprised of Praetorians and catapults. So that's where Rome's strengths are, so I'm generally a fan of playing into the strengths of civilizations, and that's what we're going to be doing here. Now, the Praetorian that I was making, whoa. Where did the Roman mythos spread? This is Roman, yeah, it spread into one of Carthage's cities there. Well, that could be good for the future if we want to take them over. How are they looking? Like, they only have one archer there, one archer there. Relatively easy to one-shot these cities, I think. Well, the archer is relatively strong, 50 city defense. I think that's a little bit higher than usual, but I could be wrong. I think, well, maybe 50 city defense was the default for the archer. Now, the triremes can actually bombard city defenses. Is Athens on a hill? Yes, it is. That's unfortunate. But Sparta is not. I think we're just going to be marching to the closest city and trying to take that one. Ultimately, that's probably going to be the most viable, rather than spending time marching through cities to try to get to Athens first. Yeah. Set that galley to sleep. And we're just going to fortify these units over here for now. How are we looking? Okay, we cleared a forest, and that created 20 hammers for our city here, which means catapult will be done on the next turn. Can we hurry this Praetorian? Yes, we can. We don't want to do this too much, but we're seeing some fair growth here. It's just like this city especially, I should hurry the Praetorian here. So we're gonna do that. One population, we are running out of happiness there. But it's important to actually get this army going right away, as soon as I possibly can. And so that's why I am going to be risking a whole bunch of my population to actually get this army out the doors. The other cities, like 3 turns for Pretoria and Rome, that's not too bad. We're sort of accelerating our production here quite significantly by using the slavery civic and hurrying our unit production by sacrificing population. Overall, Rome has very great population growth rates, like their land is very fertile. So the limiting factor is not necessarily population growth rates, but rather the happiness, keeping all of those people happy while we're actually sacrificing them to make units. That's generally a problem for a lot of people who use the slavery civic. And I should have actually moved that galley into position last turn, I think. Okay. Well, I was able to deposit 1 set of units. So we have a fairly decent sized army there growing already. I think we want to, let's see here. I could move this worker over to the island and actually improve that tile, but instead I think we're going to move him over here and start improving this tile for cottages. I probably should micro the cities a little bit better at this level. Like this tile, for example, growing 2 turns versus growing 2 turns. Yeah, we might as well work a cottage then. The cottage is a long-term investment, but I think it's going to pay off. Like I mentioned before, though, we might want to keep a unit back here just to defend this area against Greece, in case Greece decides to come puttering along after a declared war. But other than that, I think we're going to send the Praetorian down there. 6 turns is a little bit excessive, actually. But there's not a whole lot I can do about that. It's actually taking me a while to move my units into position here, as you might have guessed. So the next unit is going to be an archer. They have pretty good hills defense. I think it's going to be an archer. Maybe I should just build a Praetorian there. They have like all around good defense, and archer's defense on hills is not that great, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, even though they're relatively cheap, 25, I think in the long run, just building a Praetorian, which is 45, is going to be a smarter move. And we can always hurry the Praetorian using slavery if anything urgent comes up. I've trained a Praetorian here. The good question is, do we ever want to start investing in buildings, or should we just go all military at the very beginning? We can build trebuchets. That is interesting. Maybe I should have built a trebuchet first, because they do have 100% city strength. Catapults are good against stacks of units when they aren't in a city, and they're relatively cheap. I think going with catapults was a good move early on, because it allowed us to get an army out the gates pretty early, a fairly strong army that can take cities. But moving further along into this war, I think trebuchets are going to be especially valuable, because there are units that are going to win quite a bit against cities, and we can upgrade them because of that. So I think the next unit that we want to make are actually the trebuchets. We're just going to make a few of them in all these cities. I think we want to do another Praetorian there, though. Now, we don't want to build too many trebuchets, because they're not quite as valuable as catapults. See, the difference between trebuchets and catapults is that trebuchets are relatively only useful, or they're pretty much regulated to taking cities. And by and large, we're going to be taking a lot of cities, but they're also going to be in situations where we're actually going to have to deal with stacks of units outside of cities. And those situations are where catapults come in especially handy, because they actually deal collateral damage to units, and they have higher strength. They're 4 versus 5, and their relative cost are significantly cheaper. So for those reasons, I tend to invest early in catapults rather than trebuchets. Another catapult done? Oh, another Praetorian done. We're seeing our religion spread fairly well into Carthage's cities there. Why am I getting so much experience in this city? I only have a lighthouse here. I don't understand why my catapults are starting off with so much experience. They're starting off with, okay, just one of them is. Oh, okay, that catapult apparently came from somewhere else. Yes, for example, here in Rome, we actually have a barracks. So that would be giving us an additional 4 experience. So that'd be 6 experience total, I would think. Any other cities with barracks? Nope, just Rome, apparently. So, if we do go with barracks, I mean, with this unit, I think I'm going to promote for collateral damage. How many promotions do I get out of 8? As my leader is imperialistic, no, we're not going to actually get anything good from that. Well, I'm creative, organized, and imperialistic. Not the best traits overall for a warmongering leader. Double production speed of the courthouse could come in handy. And we also have to pay attention to our finances here. I currently have 389 gold, but we're losing it at a fairly significant rate. And I don't want to get into a situation where I'm losing a ton of gold, even with my research rate at 0. So we're going to have to get this war started very soon, so that way we lose some units and we can actually keep that rate under control, because unit cost is going to be killing us. 9 right now, all these units are costing us 9, and then when we actually step into foreign land, that's going to cost us a whole bunch in supply. So we don't want to run our units, our gold supplies too low. So that's definitely a big concern, especially at this difficulty level. Ooh, we'll see how it turns out. Like, I've played this scenario once before, and I think I played it at a relatively easy difficulty level. It was years ago, back when I was still very bad at the game. So I'm hoping now I'm a little bit better, and I can actually handle doing this at a fairly decent difficulty level. But we'll see how that goes. Here's a good example of a city that should be focusing on gold. We want to build the... I mean, the scenario does last for 250 turns, which is a fair amount of time. So I think investing in cottages in the long term is going to be a very smart move here. So that's why I'm focusing on gold in all these cities where I'm building cottages. Building a road there might not have actually been the best move. Okay, we built a Praetorian here. This city is very productive. How are we looking in terms of like gold and maintenance? I mean, if we do, we could have our maintenance costs here. It's going to give us 1 gold. Overall, not the best investment, I don't think. We don't have a whole lot of different options available to us. I mean, we could build a barracks. Barracks at this point might actually be the smartest move because it'll give us stronger units right away. I'm just hesitant about building buildings because I know that's a bit of a trap. Once you start building buildings, then your military edge can easily slip, especially during war. If we return to that, let's build a trebuchet. There. Oh, good, we're actually here making some gold now. I like to see that, especially when I'm down to 20% research rate. Let's move that Praetorian into the galley, and this catapult into the galley as well. And move that galley over there. We have a fairly decent stack. And since the great thing about Greece, they're fairly divided. Now, if I had been playing Greece and I tried to invade Rome, I would have a significantly harder time of it because Rome is a fairly united civilization. They all exist here in the Roman Peninsula, but Greece is fairly divided. Like, they have 3 cities here, 2 there. If we look over here by Egypt, I think there's a city down there. They have a city over here on the Iberian Peninsula. They have a city or 2 there. Yeah, so they're much more divided, and I think that's going to make them significantly easier to take down because they're not going to be able to get their troops around to support those cities that I'm threatening quite as quickly. Like, if I just pillage a road over here or something, we can pretty much negate all the units that are coming over through that pass. So yeah, I think overall, choosing to invade Greece was the best option, and this is an opportunity that was not readily presented to me if I played any of the other civilizations. We have another Praetorian built. Get them going over there. The great thing about catapults is there are not any units that are all that good at countering them from a defensive standpoint. It's mostly, if you're attacking catapults, you can use like light cavalry and stuff. Here we are in Rome. We actually might want to invest in a market here. We're making a fair bit of gold, and we could build a forum, which replaces the market for Rome. We're going to get happiness from fur, ivory, silk, and whale. I don't think we have any of those. Nope, we don't. And currently our population is at its max happy capacity. So that means we're not going to be able to grow it past that. I don't think there are any resources that I can do. Wait, They want to build in the city. Okay, they really want us to look or to build a building here. Obviously, building a courthouse in Rome does not make any sense because it's a capital. Oh, wait. We actually have hit 30 minutes. Okay, so I mentioned that I wanted to do 30-minute cuts here. So let's just decide on something, and then I will call it quits for this episode. I think what we're going to do is go with the Forum. This is the city I'm producing the most goods in, and once our city becomes unhappy, I'm going to be rushing that using slavery. Right now, it costs way too much population to do that. But yeah, that pretty much concludes it for the first episode. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the second episode of our Rise of Rome Warlords scenario.